I wake at my desk, the fluorescent hum a dull ache behind my eyes. My fingers are already sorting through a stack of invoices, the paper cool and crisp. The brass key in my pocket, my anchor, feels warm against my thigh. I don't remember sitting down or starting this task. The office is quiet, too quiet. The clock on the wall reads 3:17 a.m., but the hands aren't moving. A shadow detaches itself from the corner of my vision. Not quite a person, just a deeper absence of light that drifts towards the filing cabinets. I blink, and it's gone. The air grows cold, smelling faintly of ozone and something metallic. A soft, scraping sound comes from behind the closed door to the supply closet. It sounds like fingernails on wood, but too slow, too deliberate. I hold my breath, listening. The scrape repeats. Then, a faint, dry whisper, just beyond the threshold of hearing. I don't move. I just watch the closet door, waiting for the next impossible sound. I forced my gaze back to the invoices. My hands felt stiff, but I picked up the next sheet. The numbers blurred. The fluorescent lights above me flickered, a brief, sharp stutter that made the shadows jump. Then they settled back into their dull hum. I tried to focus, but the air grew heavier. A faint metallic tang now mingled with the ozone. I felt a cold spot on my neck, like someone was breathing just behind me. I didn't turn. The closet door, still closed, let out a soft, drawn-out creak. It sounded like old wood groaning under pressure. I gripped the brass key in my pocket, its warmth a small comfort against the growing chill. A stack of sorted papers on the corner of my desk slid, just an inch, then stopped. No breeze, no vibration, just a slow, deliberate shift. The silence felt like a presence, pressing in. I knew I should leave, but my fingers still held the invoice. The cold spot on my neck persists. The metallic tang in the air is stronger now, almost acrid. I try to ignore it, to focus on the numbers on the invoice. My eyes drift to the polished surface of the desk, catching a faint reflection of the office behind me. For a split second, I see it, a tall, impossibly thin figure standing directly behind my chair. Its outline is blurred, like heat haze, but it's there. I flinch, my heart seizing, and spin around. Nothing. Just the empty space, the silent hum of the fluorescence. My breath hitches. I must be tired, seeing things, but then I feel it, a deep, cold indentation on the back of my chair, where something impossibly heavy had just been pressing. The fabric is stretched, almost torn. My fingers trace the mark, the material still icy. I grip the brass key tighter, its warmth a stark contrast to the chill radiating from the chair. The scraping sound from the closet starts again, louder this time, a deliberate drag. The scraping from the closet door intensifies. It's no longer just fingernails. Something heavy drags against the wood. Then it slams. A sharp crack echoes from inside the closet. I flinch. My hand goes to the brass key in my pocket. I grip it tight. The cold indentation on my chair still presses against my back. It's a constant reminder. I tell myself it's just the old building settling, maybe a mouse. But the metallic smell is overwhelming now. It stings my nostrils. Then, a stack of sorted invoices on my desk slides. Slowly, at first. Then it tumbles to the floor with a soft rustle. No breeze. No vibration. They just moved. My breath catches. My rational mind tries to find an explanation. But my heart is pounding. This isn't fatigue. This isn't imagination. Something is here. I stare at the fallen papers. Then I look back at the closet door. It seems to bulge slightly inward now. The closet door didn't just bulge, it splintered. A thin, dark line appeared down the center, then widened with a groan of stressed wood. From the gap, a deeper shadow spilled out, not like light fading, but like an absence of everything. It moved without legs, without form, a shifting mass of impossible angles and edges that seemed to absorb the faint fluorescent light. My breath hitched. The metallic tang in the air intensified, burning my throat. I gripped the brass key in my pocket, its warmth a small, futile comfort against the sudden, profound cold that radiated from the thing. It drifted slowly across the linoleum, leaving behind a faint, shimmering trail, like oil on water, but dark. The trail didn't reflect light. It swallowed it. I watched it pass the fallen invoices, the papers stirring slightly in its wake, though no air moved. It was here. It was real, and it was moving towards my desk. The shifting shadow reached the edge of my desk, its impossible angles seeming to fold space around it. The cold intensified, a physical pressure against my skin, making my teeth ache. I gripped the brass key, its warmth a desperate anchor in the sudden Arctic air. My mind raced, not with panic, but with a weary calculation. Escape was the only option. I pushed back my chair, the plastic wheels scraping loudly on the linoleum, a sound that felt deafening in the unnatural quiet. As I started to rise, intending to bolt for the door, the shadow pulsed. It didn't move, not truly, but its edges blurred, stretching, elongating, forming a barrier between me and the exit. It was faster than thought, a preemptive strike. The metallic scent choked me. I was trapped. My breath hitched, and a dull ache settled behind my eyes, a familiar companion to this impossible reality. The thing simply waited, a silent, formless sentinel. The shadow didn't just block the door. It moved. Not like a person, but like a tide of pure darkness flowing over my desk. It engulfed the stacks of invoices, making the paper curl and blacken at its touch. A cold, heavy pressure settled on my shoulders, pushing me back into my chair. It wasn't a hand, but an invisible weight, crushing and suffocating. The metallic scent intensified, burning my nostrils, tasting like old blood and ozone. I gripped the brass key, its warmth fading under the encroaching chill. My chest tightened, struggling for air that felt thin and sharp. The shadow pressed harder, a silent, relentless force, pushing me down, until the edge of my vision began to gray. I could feel the faint, familiar ache of my old scar on my forearm, tingling under the strain. This wasn't just a barrier anymore. It was an embrace, pulling me into its impossible depths. I braced myself, knowing the resistance was futile. The pressure recedes, but the imprint remains. It's not just a memory, it's a new layer of skin, cold and thin, clinging to me. My breath still catches, even though the crushing weight is gone. The office air feels thick, heavy with unspoken things, each molecule charged with a silent dread. Every shadow now seems to writhe just at the edge of my sight, a trick of light that feels too deliberate, too knowing. I can't shake the feeling of being watched, not by eyes, but by an absence, a void that understands. The metallic tang still coats my tongue, a constant, bitter reminder of what just happened. My fingers clench around the brass key in my pocket, its warmth a faint, fleeting comfort against the pervasive chill. The old scar on my forearm throbs, a dull, persistent ache that validates every impossible sensation. This isn't just an office anymore. It's a cage, and I'm not alone in it. The silence stretches, but it's a watchful silence. Pregnant with unseen threats, I scan the room, my gaze darting, knowing nothing will be there, but unable to stop looking, unable to truly relax. The scraping sound stops. The dry whisper fades into the hum of the fluorescent lights, which now seems impossibly loud. The air still carries that faint, metallic tang, but the intense cold recedes, leaving only a lingering chill that settles deep in my bones. I watch the supply closet door. It looks normal, closed, unassuming, but the wood near the bottom, just above the floor, seems subtly darker, as if something damp had pressed against it, then dried. I don't see any distinct marks, but the impression of presence remains. A phantom weight in the room. My fingers tighten around the brass key in my pocket. Its warmth, a small, steady pulse against my palm. The old scar on my forearm aches, a dull, persistent throb that validates the lingering dread. This isn't over. It never is. The silence isn't empty. It's merely waiting, holding its breath, just like me. The task remains. The invoices still piled high, but the office is no longer just an office. It's a stage, and the curtain has only temporarily fallen. The faint metallic tang still hung in the air, a ghost of the presence that had just receded. I looked at the dark patch on the closet door, a stain that wasn't there before, a silent testament. This wasn't a random event. It was a rhythm, a pulse in the quiet office. The scraping, the whisper, the cold, they were just phases. It always came back. It always left its mark, subtle yet undeniable. My fingers found the brass key in my pocket, its warmth a small comfort against the chill that had settled into my bones. The old scar on my forearm throbbed, a dull echo of past encounters, confirming the reality of this impossible cycle. I picked up another invoice, the numbers blurring slightly. The task remained, a futile anchor in a sea of the unknown. I was just a part of its endless, silent rotation, a captive audience on its stage, forever.